I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. Thank you so much for joining me at Old Stony. It's my honor to deliver the state of the city to everyone that is here tonight. I'm grateful to serve as the mayor of the city of Frankfort, and I believe that the strength of our community lies in our ability to work together. My team and I work to serve you, the citizens of Frankfort, and to enrich our community through public safety, community events, and championing organizations and local businesses. I would like to start this evening by introducing that large group of people that commit countless hours to serve the citizens of Frankfort. I would like to start out with my department heads, Fire Chief Matt Stidham, Police Chief Scott Shoemaker, Parks and Street Superintendent Jason Forsythe. Is Jason here? Yep, there he is, right back there. Director of Planning and Housing, Don Stock. Community Development Director and Outreach, Kimberly Black. And then also the Board of Works members tonight with us are Megan Sheets and Greg Miller. I'd also like to introduce the city council members that are present tonight. We have our council pro tem president, Eric Woods, Mike Bright, Steve Beardsley, don't believe Brand's here, Joe Palmer's not here, Megan Sheets, and Clarence Worthen. Thank you all for being here tonight. So tonight we're going to do things a little bit different. I've asked Mike Clausen to be here this evening and to ask questions. And as he asks those questions, I'm going to answer those. So it's going to be similar to like a fireside chat. So anyway, I will now let Mike take over.
Thanks. Good evening, Mayor Sheets. Thank you for inviting me to join you here tonight. When Mayor Sheets brought up the fireside chat idea, I was concerned that we may be the only two here who knew who President Roosevelt was or remembered the reference, but maybe there's a couple others. I'm going to be asking a few questions about the past year, the state of the city right now, your goals for Frankfort in the coming year, and your vision of Frankfort's future. First, I know you've just released the annual report. Could you tell us about the annual report, what sort of information it contains, and why you think it's important?
I think it's really important for us to get this information out to the citizens of Frankfort. It's going to tell about the financial health of the city of Frankfort, which I'm very proud of that. I think we're in a great state right now as far as finances. It also will give you a report on each one of the departments, information that maybe you might not have known otherwise. So I encourage you to get a copy of this. It will be available off of our website. You can contact my office, and also Kimberly Black, the Community Development Outreach Director, if you get a hold of her. So I encourage everyone to get this information. I think it's important that everybody in the city understands exactly what's going on and different things about our department.
There's been a lot of concern on the federal level about the economy. Everybody's talking about inflation, interest rates, raising the debt ceiling. I don't pretend to understand any of that, but on a local level, in general, what's the state of Frankfort's economy? Are we in a good position financially?
No, we're in a very good position. We have positioned ourselves to be flexible. We're building a cash reserve at this time. Also for our bond ratings, when we went for that for our pool bond, we are an A stable, so I'm very proud of that for our city. I want to share a few other things, information as far as our capital. The city's capital improvement plan is funding over $14.4 million in capital over a 6-year period. That's from 2023 to 2028. And all capital requests are funded as of year-end 2022. The council and myself set out to have a cash reserve goal, and that at this time is 180 days. So we've been working on getting to this point for a few years now. The city ended the year with 162 days of cash on hand. So I think that's really good. In 2019, we're at 128 days. So we are making progress. And, excuse me, the operating funds for 154 days of cash reserve, overall, the funds tracked within the financial plan grew $370,000 in 2022. My glasses on so I can see this one. So our ending cash balances in general fund in 2020, the actual cash balance was $4,023,443. We ended 2022 with $4,419,910. So I'm really proud of that. It shows that we are building cash at the end of the year, which I think is so important. Our 2022 revenues were $18.6 million and our budget was 18.9. But I will tell you that we had unused appropriations in 2022 of 5%. So that was a surplus of $368,000. In 2020, we had a 2% unused appropriation. So we are making progress. 2021, it was 4.4. So we're working towards, we get the things that we need. We don't spend needlessly or things that we think we don't need. So I think that's important for people to understand that we are turning back in unused appropriations. We're just not out there spending the money because it's been appropriated for us. We do have some restrictions of having a financial plan is essential for the city to track progress in a very difficult fiscal environment. The city has overcome many difficult hurdles by having a financial plan in place and following it through. The city's faced with a high circuit breaker rate. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but we're at 25% in 2022. So budgeting becomes very difficult with 25% of property taxes not collected because of that tax cap. And that equates to about $2.5 million in uncollected property taxes due to the tax caps. Another thing that I want to talk about today is our tax rate. In 2022, our tax rate was at 2.3157, and for 2023, it's 2.0137. So that's the lowest our tax rate has been. I went back to 2018, and our tax rate at that time was 2.0413, so we're even lower than that. So for the past 5 to 6 years, this is the lowest our tax rate has been. Our AV growth has been a lot bigger in these few years, and for 2023, it is 21.14. So those are things that I hope that are important to you to see that our tax rate are going down. It's very important that our assessed values go up, and that's what we work for. That's what we strive for. A couple other things that I wanted to bring up to you as far as our cash. Our sanitation fund grew from 2020 to 2022, $41,000. So that size budget, that's really good. We ended in 2020 with $190,725, and we ended 2022 with $231,576. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's very important as we move forward that we make sure that we have cash balance at the end. As far as the city, all total funds, we ended 2020 with $9,508, and we ended 2022 with $13,014,548. So as you can see, we are building cash value. We are not in poor financial shape. I heard the other day that somebody said, oh, we're in really bad financial shape, the worst we've been in years. To be honest with you, we are in better shape than we have been in years, and I'm proud of that. And I'm proud because of the council, the Board of Works, we all work together. We make sure that this happens for all of our citizens. It's important to us to serve our community and to make sure that we're being fiscally responsible. For 2023, we have a total budget of $11,628,475. And with that, that's our tax levy, and our rate is at, like I said, 2.0137, which is at an all-time low for the last 5 or 6 years. So I think that's something that says a lot for our council members, our finance committee. We all work very hard for the citizens. And I want you to realize that there's a lot that goes into these budgets and planning. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our TVA Pool Aquatic Center. We did have to take out a bond for that. The amount of the bond was $10 million. We also used some of our ARPA funds at $888,000. We felt that was a good use of the ARPA funds, and that was something that they said we could use that for. Along with, we got a community foundation grant of $250,000. They paid that to us at $50,000 a year for 5 years, and this is the last year for that. So the total, all said and done with the issuance and all the amounts that we spent, it's going to be $11,930,504, and that is a 20-year bond. So I want everybody to be aware of that. We are actually paying for that through our economic development income tax, paying a portion of the bond payment back, and also our TIF funds, which TIF funds are from the industrial park mostly, and so it does not affect any of your taxes. Next, we have a police department bond, and the bond for that was $8,500,000, and we also used ARPA funds of $1,025,000, and a few other things that came into play, the premium, that type thing. So the total bond is $10,341,612.33. That is for a new police station, and that's a 25-year bond. That bond payment will be paid out of public safety lit. There again, that is a local income tax. So it is not out of your property taxes, it's strictly from your local income tax. And with that being said, the reason why we had to delay those projects, both of them, is because we were being told that we weren't sure that we were going to be able to collect income tax the way that we needed it because of COVID in 2020. So when the state came back to us in 2020, it was in March, April, they said, we cannot guarantee what your income tax is going to be. So we felt at that time that we needed to stop those projects until we were more stable financially and knew where we were going. So once we felt that financial stability and thought we could move forward, that's when we did that. And I think we've been very fiscally responsible in putting these projects together. We had to redesign some things at the pool. We took out about $500,000 in the concession stands. And also we had to remove a lap pool, which was not a popular thing to do, but in order to have an aquatic center for this summer, that's one of the things that we had to do. As far as the police station, we did not know for sure where we were going to put the police station, so we searched around for some areas. But the last that was discussed before we stopped the project was maybe at the airport, have police station, have fire station, and close the station in town. Well, when we came back to the table, I don't think that's anything that any of us really wanted to do, was to close a police station, Station 2 in Frankfurt. So we decided to go ahead and move in a different direction. We purchased land, which is east of Brock Brain, and we paid $180,000 for that. That was paid to Community Foundation. And if you're not familiar with Community Foundation, I can explain to you that they do a lot of grants for the city of Frankfurt. As I just mentioned, for the aquatic center, they gave $250,000 back to the city of Frankfurt in the form of a matching grant. So to me, it was kind of a wash. You know, we bought it off Community Foundation, but they come back and they give us money. They have also funded projects at the aviary, and just recently they have funded a project for ADA adaptive equipment of $10,000. So to us, that made sense to make those changes. We were able to move forward with the projects, and I think it's something that we can all be proud of. I answered all your questions. Sorry. So anyway, all of this is going to be in our annual report, so feel free to get a copy of the annual report. And I hope that you all really do look at it, read it. If you have any questions, I'm always available to talk finances. I love to talk finances for the city. That's my thing. I served as clerk treasurer, as many of you know, for 12 years, starting my 13th year. So I'm very familiar with that. Our revenues, our expenditures, what funds can be spent for what. So I'm always open for a good conversation on finances about the city of Frankfurt. Okay.
Well, we'll stick with the building idea though. It was recently announced that Good Oil Company would be constructing a new project at Highway 28 and Interstate 65. Apparently that's within the new city limits. Is that correct, or is that?
Okay. Currently, it's in the counties. And when we annex in 2024, a portion of that property will become City of Frankfurt. So in 2024, we will annex that in, but we will not provide services to that area until 2025 in March, the end of March. So right now it is all county property. They're the ones that are working on the development, and also I think there's going to be a roundabout and some other things that they're changing out in that area.
Could you give us a few details on that particular business? I wasn't really ever sure what it was, but not only that business, any other signs of growth in terms of building services and progress for the city?
Yes, out there they are going to tear down, it's my understanding, they're going to tear down the current gas station that's there. And then they're going to rebuild a gas station, and behind that they're going to have an RV park, they're going to have an event center, they're going to have some retail. So it's going to be a big expansion out there. And I think the way the city is probably going to get the most out of that is because of economic growth. We're hoping that people will come into the city, visit our boutiques, our restaurants, and come in here and make this a destination spot as well. They're going to be there for maybe an event or something, but let's hope that they come into Frankfort. Our community development outreach, that is Kimberly Black. I don't know what happened to her. She was in here, but that's very important too as well on our expansions and our growth. Kimberly and I work along with Dawn Stock hard on new development for the city. There's always somebody that's calling, do you have an empty building? Can we bring an industry in? We work also with the Chamber of Commerce. So those type of things are important. When I put Kimberly in her position about a year and a half ago, I changed that position. It was a different position and had different responsibilities. And I felt the need for the city of Frankfort to have somebody that people could reach out to, and that they knew that we cared about them, and that the small businesses felt a part of our community, our local business owners, our industry. I felt like there was a disconnect, and I wanted that to come back. I wanted people to feel like they were a part of this community. So that's one of the things that I challenged Kimberly with when she came in, and so she's done a great job for me. She has social media. She has our Facebook page. She has Instagram. She started a new app. And so if you go to our website, there's a way that you can connect with, it's called Frankfort Connect, and you can get notifications. You can find out everything about the city. You can go to the Board of Works meetings, the council meetings, everything's right there. So Kimberly's done a great job on that. She also works with our local businesses, our small businesses downtown. As you know, that's very important to us. Small businesses are what make our community. They're vital for our community. We need them. We need to support them. We need to keep them. We need to bring new businesses in, but we need to keep the ones that we have. And then we can do that by supporting them. And I think that's so important. And that's something that I wanted to do from day one. Like I said, I kind of felt a disconnect between the city of Frankfort and small businesses when I first came into office. And that's one thing that I want to work on. So I think that's something that's very important. We're also looking at downtown at Veterans Park. Doing some sort of an expansion down there. We don't really know what direction we're going yet, but Kimberly has been working with the redevelopment commission and seeing how we can move forward with that. Also maybe some new sidewalks, new lighting, going north on Main Street. So there's a lot of new things that are going to be happening downtown, and a lot of things that have happened already. Our building services, also Don Stock is in charge of that. He's another one that I work closely with as we talk about developments and expansions for the city. We have many different projects going on. In 2022, they provided certificates of occupancy for 14 different businesses. And they also look over the 50/50 program. And in 2022, we had $40,000 worth of 50/50 sidewalks. And that's where the city provides 50% of the cost and the resident provides 50% of the cost. So I think it's something that's very important to our community, gives people the opportunity to get sidewalks when maybe they couldn't ordinarily do that. And then I want to mention also that last spring, our building inspector, Daniel Howe, had 2 different training sessions at Old Stony. I don't know if anybody got to attend those, but they were events sponsored by Gilman's, and he taught them how to roof frame, which I'm not that familiar with, and also how to do a gable roof. So anyway, we offered that for people to come in for class. So we thought that was something that would be good for our community, and hopefully we'll do it again this year. Dawn is also in charge of the Historic Preservation Commission, which we have 2 historic districts in the city of Frankfurt. And if you live in those historic districts, then you are expected to follow a little bit different guidelines than in other areas of town is when you do remodeling. So the Historic Preservation Commission has come up with a great idea. I love it. They want to put toppers on top of the street signs so that everybody knows if it's a historic district. We're having a struggle letting people know that they're in the historic district. They may buy a property and not realize it, and then they go to do a remodel or something like that, and they can't do it necessarily. So right now, our big thing is to make sure that people are made aware that they're in a historic district and that they would have to follow different guidelines. We have a Neighbors Helping Neighbors program, which I think is very important. It's really underutilized at this point. The members of the First Presbyterian Church, St. Matthew Church, and Faith Christian Church volunteer their time, but it seemed like during COVID that kind of went away and it's never built back up, but the program is still available. So if you know anybody that needs any help with different areas in their home, maybe painting, raking, mowing, anything that they might need, it's a Neighbors Helping Neighbors. We're getting ready for new subdivisions in the city. The city has now issued 28 permits for new homes that total $5.7 million. And that includes South Ridge Phase 3 and the Riley subdivision. And also we're looking at another Meadowbrook subdivision that we're hoping to have around 130 homes, but that will be phased in. So we are expanding, we're growing. I think the hard thing right now is for people to understand, affordable housing. It's not what it used to be. What we used to think was 150,000 is probably 300,000 now. And that's not just locally, that's statewide, national-wise. So that's kind of hard for us, because we need housing. We need people to be able to afford to live in Frankfurt. So we are working on that, and I want you to know that we are. I think that's everything.
It was good. I don't have any questions left.
Oh, you don't? I do like to talk to you.
No, I do. I have a few specific questions about other city departments, starting with police and fire. In regard to the fire department, what maintenance, new equipment, buildings, what has been done over the past year, or what may be needed in the future for the fire department?
Okay, just to make everyone aware, we have 40 sworn firefighters and 2 civilian employees at the Frankfurt Fire Department. They cover, I have 105 square miles, is that correct, Matt? Okay. And they have 11 to 13 members per shift. They've gone eco-friendly. We now have battery-powered equipment in the trucks. We've worked really hard to get our trucks up to date, our buildings up to date. We have 3 stations. We have main headquarters and we have station 2 and 3. A lot of things needed to be done, and as that was brought to our attention, we were able to make sure that that happened. We were able to provide the funding and allow that to happen. I'm trying to see how many training classes. So in 2022, they had 76 fires, 954 rescues, and 144 service calls and special incidents of 568. We recently, I don't know if any of you know, but we are going to have to put a station out on 28. We're going to annex in. That annexation will take place in 2024. We provide the services in 2025. Well, we do have a contract or an agreement with NHK Seating, and we said that at the time of annexation that we would start the build of a fire department out in that area, but it has to be west of 450 West. So that's what we're working on right now. We're looking to use the BOT process, which is build, operate, transfer, and we're hoping that that works out for us to do that. So we're searching for land right now. We're looking at designs. The chief has been to different fire stations around the state of Indiana to see some things to make sure that we get what we need and be fiscally responsible as well. So I just want to make that known is the reason why that fire station is going to be out so far. It's because of the growth that's going to happen out there. We will remain to keep the 3 stations here in the city of Frankfurt. They right now service the city of Frankfurt, and that's working out okay. That doesn't mean that Station 4 may not have to come in and to help in the city, But basically, we're building it as well for the industrial park and for any growth that we have out there, because we're looking to see maybe retail, hotels, subdivisions, industry out there. So I think it's important that we have that fire protection out in that area. We have in Station 2 and Station 3, we put new generators in, along with Station 3, a new roof. We had some foundation problems, some moisture problems in both of those stations, and those have been fixed. The training center had a back wall that needed a lot of work done on it, and the firefighters did most of the work themselves, maybe all the work themselves, which we're very thankful for that. That saved us a lot of money. But all said and done, over $330,000 have been spent on renovation, equipment, and bringing everything up to date for our firefighters, and they deserve that. They're an important part of our community, their public safety, and I'm so thankful that we are able to do that for them. And it's been a challenge on some of those things, probably Chief Stidham could tell you, but we've worked really hard, and thankful that the council, Board of Works there again have seen that this is something that is necessary for our public safety employees.
Okay, speaking of public safety employees, the police department has a new headquarters, or will very soon. I think it's June or July. Have you seen the building yet? And why is the new building important to the police department?
Yes, I have seen the new building, and it is going to be a great facility. It's fantastic. And I think the biggest thing that I look at when I see it is the safety for our officers and the security part of that building. Where they are right now, it is not that secure. I'm anxious that they can get into a building where it's going to be secure, they're going to be safe. They can bring suspects in, they can bring evidence in. They don't have to be out in the elements and then come into that station. They're going to have a garage area they can pull in, they can use that. There's going to be more offices. It's all going to be on one level. We currently have 35 officers, 5 civilians, and of those 5, 2 code enforcement, 2 specialists, and then 1 maintenance. And they also take care of the crossing guards. But I think it's important for our police department to have a place that they can call their home. This is the first time from the ground up that we've been able to provide a police department. And I think they're so deserving of that. A lot of people are concerned about the location. Maybe they don't understand, but our officers' office is in their cars. So they're out on patrol. That's where their office is. They have their computers there and they can work from there. Chief Shoemaker told me that there's very few walk-in traffic at the police station they currently are. We thought this was a good location, as I mentioned earlier. We purchased this and the money went to Community Foundation, which turned around and brought that money back into our community. So it was a win-win for us, I felt. I think it's going to be a good location as we expand out west. I don't want us to lose our downtown. I don't want us to lose the importance of our downtown, but we know that at some point it's going to expand out there in 2024 and 2025. We have a great police department. I was going to talk a little bit about the training hours. They've had let's see this down here. They increased their training staff to 8 new instructors, and they had their annual training hours for 4,099 hours in 2022. So they work very hard. Something that was important to me when I came into office was to see that they have the training and the equipment they needed. And Chief Shoemaker has seen that that has happened, and I'm proud of him for doing that. They've had some mental health training, something that was very important to me on how to handle those calls when they go and know how to handle those people at that time. They partnered with the EMS to provide all officers with BVM, and this allows the officers to provide atmospheric oxygenated air immediately after using Narcan. So that was something else that was important, that we do that we know how to use that. They received communication boards from the Autism of Indiana, and they were trained on using the board to assist those who may be nonverbal. So our police department is out there learning new things, how to deal with people in different situations. And I think what's most important is that we're able to provide that training for them and the equipment that they need. They also were able to get new weapons, which I think was very important. I'm trying to see if it's on here somewhere. how long it's been since they had their last weapons. When was the last? 20 plus years. And so we're able to provide them with new weapons. And I think that's a very important thing. I'm proud of our police department. We've come a long ways. I don't know if anybody's been in the police department that's theirs right now, but when you walk in there and then you go to the new building, you're going to see how great it's going to be and what a great facility it's going to be for them to provide what they need to do their job. And that's what's important. We need to support and provide equipment, training, and whatever our public safety employees need, and still be fiscally responsible, but I feel that we have been. And they had to make many cuts to go into this new building. It was not maybe everything that they wanted, but it's going to give them a really great facility to be in.
Well, you already transitioned me to a question vaguely related to the police department. The old building, the former post office, will now be empty. The building, I think, is owned by the city.
Yes.
Are there any plans for that building at the present time?
We've had different people off and on interested in it, but we can't get anybody to make a commitment to it. It is an older building. It's a historical building, but there are some repairs that need to be done. There's no doubt about it. There's going to have to be money spent on that. So I think that makes people a little hesitant. What would be good is if we could have somebody get into the building and get grants. That's probably a good way that we would be able to do that. Currently, we have no one that has made a commitment to it, but I feel like it's something that we're going to be able to take care of eventually. But they're not going to be out of the building until June. So we have a few more months. We're still working on that. It is not going to be demolished. It is a historical building, and it's going to stay. We're going to figure this out what we're going to do with it.
The street department made the news this year with the implementation of the new automated trash pickup system. How's that working out? And are the trash bins staying where they're supposed to stay?
Well, the street department did implement the new trash service, and it's going great. A lot of people had to learn how to do things differently, and not everybody was happy about it. But I think everybody's adjusting as well as can be expected. We still know we have some situations, but the big thing is if you have a situation with that, you need to let the street department know. We don't know unless you tell us. We can't fix a problem. You know, you can go on social media, you can complain to your neighbor, but until you come directly to us, we can't really fix the situation. And Jason's worked really hard on getting this put in place. We actually purchased 2 new trucks and 1 used truck, and then the totes. So those are under a lease contract. Our 2 new trucks are under a 7-year lease. The used truck is under a 5-year lease, and the toters are under a 10-year lease. So we have that spread out over time. We did a lot of financial projections, making sure that we would have the money. So we had to take into account the number of residents that we have, how many would use the toters, and then the cost of that lease. So that took a lot on our end, but we figured it out. We know that we're going to be bringing in Jefferson in a short period of time. So we had to think about some of those things as well. And we worked really hard at that. As far as the street department, we're working right now with NDOT to get reimbursement for Clinton Street from Jackson West to out around Vintage Cafe because there was a lot of damage done. So we're working with them to make sure that we can get some reimbursement to make that happen. Also, we have applied for a grant for South Nash Road, Phase 3, which is exciting to me. It's something that needs to be done. We'll go from Haven Avenue to Kelly Road. And that will be infrastructure, sidewalks, and we'll also have a multi-purpose walking path. So anyway, that is going to be at a $4.9 million project, and it's an 80-20 match. But we feel like that's something that we're going to be able to afford. If the grant is awarded to us, we will start having to put some money into that this year, but the majority of that will be in 2027 when the project is more towards completion. And we'll start with design work, and then also along the way, we'll have to get right-of-ways. So we're working towards that project as well. So I'm really excited about that. As far as our paving, in 2022, we did over $2 million for the paving in the city of Frankfort, which I think that's fantastic. Maybe a lot of people don't notice it. It's really expensive. Asphalt has gone up in cost, but I think it's really Important that you know that we do try very hard. We hire a company, Butler, Fairman, and Seifert. They come in, they do a Pacer rating on the streets. So we just don't go pick a street because it's in somebody's neighborhood or because, we think that's what we ought to do. We actually have these streets rated, and that's how we decide which streets will be paved. So this year we have budgeted $325,000, and we've applied for the community crossing grant, which would double that. So we'd be at $650,000. We've already put some of the streets down that we want to pave, and hopefully that we get that grant. We should know in the next month or so. And as far as the South Mash Road, we're hoping here in the next month or so on that. So that's exciting for me. We're already talking about Kelly Road from Mash over to hopefully maybe farther than Williams, but we're even looking at that in the near future because we definitely need sidewalks in that area and we need that road improved. And so that's a couple of things that we're looking at the street department and moving forward on that. At the street department, they did pave the parking lot. That was in really bad shape this year. It's something we felt like we needed to do. And we also had 2 employees that went for their Class A CDLs. And it's important now because with these new trash trucks, they have to have CDLs. And so we thought that was something that we could help provide for them. So that's worked out really well. And Ivy Tech has been a great partner with us to make sure that happens. Superintendent Jason Forsythe also put together an all-county school program with Chris Herron. And this was in the spring of 2022. I don't know if any of you remember or if you got to go. But it was talking about addiction and how it affects the lives of teenagers, their families, their relationships, and that type of thing. It was a very successful program, and that's something I'm proud of Jason for putting together. So not only does he work on our streets, he also thinks of our community, and I appreciate that, Jason. Okay.
You spoke a little bit about it earlier, but if anyone has driven through the TPA Park lately, the most obvious change in regard to the Parks Department would have to be the new aquatic center. I assume that's going to be open to the public this summer?
Yes, absolutely. We're hoping to have it open Memorial Day. That's the goal right now. And as far as I know, they're on target for that, maybe even a week or 2 ahead. So we're excited. As I told you earlier about the funding for that. So that's been put in place and so we're ready to go. Jason has been working really hard and Kimberly on getting equipment. We need the Chase lounges. We need make sure that IT's there. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to consider. We're looking at the concession stands and buying equipment for the concession stands. We're going to have cabanas that you can rent. So yes, there's a lot of things to get ready at the aquatic center. But can I talk a little bit more about the parks?
You can talk about it.
Not just the aquatic center. So I just want to say that a lot of things are going on at the parks. It's exciting. I thank Jason for taking on the interim right now as park superintendent. We put a new dog park in at Dorner Park, and I'm so thankful for George Dorner. He loves our community. His family has been a part of this community for years, and he felt a need to come here and do this for the city of Frankfort. So we put in a new dog park, and we named it after Mary Jane McMahon. We also, at that time, started looking at putting pickleball courts in at Dorner Park, and that is something else that he's going to fund. So there are going to be 4 pickleball courts at Dorner's Park, and then also, he planted daffodils. He was down here. He was helping plant those daffodils. He was really into that. So we're going to look for it this spring. It's going to be beautiful out at Dorner's Park if all of them come up and they bloom. Let's hope. So other things that are happening at the park, at the TPA Park, once again, the Community Foundation has given us a grant for $10,000 for ADA adaptive equipment. Also, Center Township donated $3,000, and we have $3,000 in the fund. So we've ordered the equipment. It's about $16,000 worth of equipment. And I think it's something that's going to be really special at TPA Park. And I look forward to see that put in place. Also at TPA Park, we're redoing the tennis courts. There are going to be 6 pickleball courts and 2 tennis courts, where just tennis courts were. So we are taking bids right now. We're trying to get the lighting figured out. We'll have to have painting. We'll have to have it resurfaced. So there's a lot of things yet to do, but we're excited about what's going on at TPA Park. Another thing that I want to say that is really important to me, and I was hoping to have it in place already, was I want a master plan for the parks. Parks are a great amenity for the city of Frankfort. They're so important. People really enjoy our parks, and I think it's now time for us to put together a master plan and to see how we move forward, not just fix a few things here and do a few things here. Let's get a plan in place and let's move forward.
My last question concerns basically a broader topic where you can talk about what you want to talk about. What are your goals for the city, first in the coming year? And then what is your vision for the future of Frankfort?
For this coming year, I think the big thing that we want to look at is to just make sure that all our projects get finished. We've all worked hard on this. I look forward to the Aquatic Center opening. I think it's going to be a great amenity for our city, for our citizens, for our kids. I'm hoping that we keep people in Frankfort and that people will come to Frankfort as well. We're working right now on that as far as the fee schedule and those type things. Something that's important to me also is to keep the collaboration between the different organizations in the city of Frankfort. Maybe I just recognize it because of the position that I'm in, but it has taken every one of our organizations working together, and they're doing it. It's amazing to me what is going on. We have healthy communities. We have Center Township trustee. We have our probation department. I mean, I'm just going to skip to something else real quickly, but we all worked really hard on the opioid settlement. And we came together as a group. We had county officials, city officials, probation, trying to think of who all, healthy communities, everybody working together. That's what's important. We all have to work together. And we came up with a list of priorities of what we wanted to do with our opioid funds. The city of Frankfort actually received $57,000 in restricted funds and a little over $24,000 in unrestricted. So we met, we came together, and we figured out a plan. We prioritized that. We brought it back to the city and county officials, and our city council approved the $57,000 restricted funds as we had prioritized those. So that was very important to me. But another step further, the $24,000 was unrestricted. It could be used for basically anything. But I wanted that to be used for our recovery community. And I asked our council to consider using half of that for We Care and half of it for 180 recovery. And they unanimously consented to doing that. I think that says a lot for our community. That's what's important. We have a lot of good things going on in the addiction recovery community, and we want to keep those things going. We have a new facility that is going to start down on North Columbia Street. It's called Trinity Hope, and it's going to be used through healthy communities. And also they're going to have their peer coaches there. They're going to have activities there. We have to embrace these people. We have to let them know how much we love them and we care about them. I mean, Clinton County is getting really well known right now for what they do for the addiction recovery. And I think that's really important. There were 4 of us that went down to the state. We were asked to speak about our opioid settlement. It was Alan Dunn, President of County Council, Jordan Brewer, the President of the Commissioners, myself, and Laura Archibald with Healthy Communities. And we gave a presentation on opioid funds and how we all work together. And I'm telling you, they were amazed. They were amazed at the way we all collaborate. We work together. We care about our community. And that's what builds our community, is how much we care. And I think we need to continue doing that in the years to come. Also, one of the things that I'm looking forward to is Station 4. I think that's exciting. We've been working really hard, like I said, to find a location. To me, that's probably going to be the only big project that I see coming up, because we have bonds on Prairie Creek Park, Old Stony, and we also we'll have them for the Aquatic Center and the police station. So I think probably right now we need to sit back. We need to do what we have to do for the fire station, put that in place, get those bonds in place, and now we have to maintain what we have. I think that's what's important, is that we maintain what we have. And another thing that I think we need to look at is our local businesses, our small businesses. I want to see them stay. I want to get new ones in, but I think it's important that we support them and that we're there for them. This community belongs to all of us. We're all a very important part of this. And I think the more we can stress that to others and let them know that we do care, take an active part in your community. If you don't like what's going on, come and tell us. Let's do something different. Let's make this work for everybody. So that's kind of my goals going forward. I think paving is important to me. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of money that we can use towards paving. 650,000 seems like a lot of dollars, but when you go to do paving, it really doesn't stretch that far. But a couple of the other projects, like I mentioned, was the phase 3 of Nash Road. I'm excited about that. And also, what's the other one I was going to mention? The housing projects. I think it's important that we continue to move forward with our housing projects. Kimberly and I have worked really hard on that, as well as I know Don Stock has. People come to us probably weekly. They want to invest in this community. They care about this community. And that's what I like to see is they say, hey, we see things are happening in Frankfurt. We want to come here. We want to invest. We want to develop here. So that says a lot for our community and how well we get along. So let's keep these things going. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep making this the best community that we can make it. We're looking forward to this summer to things going on at Prairie Creek Park. There's always a lot of good concerts, a lot of good events and activities. So that's kind of what I can say. That wasn't really a nutshell, was it?
No. Those are all the questions I have. I think you may be finished, but it's hard to tell. And I think it's time now that you were going to present a special award.
Yes. I didn't bore you all too much. That's why we tried the fireside chat, because I wasn't just going to get up here and talk. He was going to give me a little break here. So tonight, we're going to honor a citizen of Frankfurt. It's called the Diamond of Excellence Award. The City of Frankfurt Diamond of Excellence Award is given to a community member whose life is a shining example of service to this community. This award is designed to inspire others to make a difference in Frankfurt through volunteering, championing community engagement, and supporting local organizations and businesses. Mary Lynn Peter is hereby recognized as a Frankfurt Diamond of Excellence. She's the recipient of that award for outstanding service to the city of Frankfurt. Mary Lynn has committed countless hours to bring awareness to the local artists in our community. She has worked tirelessly to bring back vibrant community events in the downtown area. And that includes the farmers market and the tree lighting ceremony. Her ideas are innovative and bring community engagement to Frankfurt. The city of Frankfurt is a better place because of Mary Lynn Peter. We recognize Mary Lynn as a Diamond of Excellence recipient and thank her for many contributions to the city of Frankfurt. Come up here. Okay. I want to present this plaque to you for your dedication to our community, and I thank you for all that you've done for this community. And I know how much you love the community, you're passionate about it. And when we were trying to decide what we were going to do and to pick someone, right away popped up in our mind for all that you've done. Yeah, I'm really excited for the farmers market. Thank you for bringing that back. And I know that you have a great love for these artists and the musicians in this community. So I thank you for that as well. Hopefully you will inspire others to do great things for our community.
And it all helps with the community, pitching in and helping and just being involved. Yeah. I think we're
Okay, I'd like to thank everyone for coming this evening. I hope I didn't bore you too much with all my information, but we've been talking about the city of Frankfurt and I don't know when to stop. So I love the city of Frankfurt. It's where I've been born and raised, and I love it. I have a passion for Frankfurt. I see great things happening. And I think that we all just need to work together to make this a better community that we can all be proud of. that we have people that will work here, play here, they'll stay here. Not only do we want people to come here, we want them to stay here. We want them to be proud to live in the city of Frankfurt. So I thank you all for coming out this evening. Be safe going home. And if you have any questions, you want to talk about anything that I talked about tonight, let me know. I'd be happy to do that. Thank you.